Do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world?
No, that's definitely not it, but this is. Check this out. That rattle has been in this car since we got it, and we got it at 30,000 miles. And now it's at 82,000 miles. Alright, so the 2018 Expedition is now inside the shop, and the lift is not available because there's something on there right now that I can't show, but got it jacked up on some jack stands, and I think that's all I need. Most people say, hey, you should just lift the cab, it'll be easier, but I think I'm just gonna go through the engine bay and do this job. Now I have all the parts right here, including the water pump, because the water pump just recently started dripping, so might as well go ahead and replace it. And these are the cam phasers. There's two different part numbers, and I believe the part numbers are different from when they were made in 2018, so it is an updated part, which is nice. And I've got all the gaskets, intake gaskets, new bolts, everything is here to complete the job, even a tube of silicone. Oh yeah, and also I got both timing chains, both sides. So in this case, I'm replacing everything. I don't think it's required because the car only has 82,000 miles on it. I think I could reuse the chains, but might as well while I'm in there. They're not that expensive. I'm just gonna replace everything, and this thing will be for sale. And that way I can tell the new owner what's been done to it, and it's not going to have any issues. I will completely service this thing. I'm not going to do it in this video, but I'm going to go ahead and service the transmission and make sure that everything's 100% before this thing is up for sale. Not that it's not 100%, but I just want to service it, 82,000 miles, get everything done. Got some instructions here printed. Basically, everything's pretty simple. I just hate messing with the timing. I want to always make sure that the timing is right. When I did this on my Shelby GT350, it was a nightmare. I double checked, triple checked everything because you don't want to mess up the timing. So got some instructions to follow here. Everything looks pretty simple, just like on the Shelby, except maybe it's a little bit smaller. So, and here's the actual cam phasers. So I've got the torque specs and everything here. First things first, let's disconnect the battery. And by the way, there was no codes that were setting for the rattle or anything like that. And like I said, this thing's been rattling for like over 50,000 miles. We got this thing with 30,000 miles and it was rattling, and I never did anything about it. And it's still rattling, but it still drives with no codes. So technically I could keep driving it like this. I just want to make sure that the new owner will have everything 100% before he gets it. Thing has been Whipple tuned for the whole time we owned it. So since 30,000 miles to 82,000 miles, this thing's been around 500 horsepower with the Whipple upgrade, which is the big intercooler under there, and then this filter setup and a 93 pump gas tune. And this can be done at home, but I don't have a topside creeper, and this thing is amazing, especially that I'm not pulling the cab or anything. I'll be able to lay up here and do the thing that I need to do. I probably should have washed this engine bay before this because everything is disgusting. I washed it the first day we drove it, I guess, and that was it. So a lot of people don't know that Whipple makes EcoBoost upgrades, and they're great because not only that I see like better MPG, but it keeps everything cooler, and that's what you want for the engine, is everything to stay as cool as possible. And I actually drag raced this thing and towed with it. I don't want to say I abused it, but I used it to the max this whole 50,000 miles that we owned it. So it's a great upgrade, and it's affordable. So a lot of people are going to say, yeah, there's a recall, why don't you just get it taken care of under the recall? Yes, there is a recall, but since my car is tuned and I don't trust anyone to work on my cars, I'm gonna do it myself because I want to get it done right, and I want to know that I replaced certain parts. One thing I hate about 3.5 EcoBoost engines, or any EcoBoost engine, is all this piping you have to remove. There's so much that can go wrong, and you'll have a boost leak. But once you get everything removed out of the way, you have all this room, which is kind of cool. So I just don't see any reason why people or the dealership will pull the cab for this job. I mean, if you have a topside creeper, this could be done, no problem, unless I run into something crazy, which I will record, I guess. But so far it's just taking stuff apart, just like any other car, but with a few more hoses than normal EcoBoost life. So once you remove all the coolant lines, which is like 150 of them, you're gonna be removing the belt and then the water pump. So best, I guess, to just loosen these water pump pulley bolts. It's gonna be easier that way, and then remove the belt, and then remove the AC belt. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to remove the AC compressor. I don't think it's attached to the front cover in any way, but the alternator is gonna have to go. So once I remove the belt and everything like that, I can pop the valve covers off and the front plate, and then we're gonna see all the cool stuff in there. And I don't know if we're gonna see any physical damage on the cam phasers or not, maybe internal, but we'll break one open and see. I mentioned earlier that I seen some coolant disappearing from the reservoir over some time, and then there was like a puddle at one point at my house in the driveway, and from what I could see with all the lines in the way, when I pressurized the system, it looked like it was coming from around the water pump area. And I think it is, because as you can see, this thing spins like almost free. So I'm guessing the sealant there is just leaking, and that's why I was losing coolant. So that's no big deal. That's why I got a new water pump, and I'm gonna replace it as I go. So next step is I'm gonna go ahead and remove the water pump out of the way, remove the alternator, and then get the balancer off so I can have the plate all ready to remove. It actually looks like it might have been leaking from the gasket too. So the new water pump from the dealer came with the new gasket, and this thing just spins like freely and stuff. So it's a good thing I got a water pump, I guess. It's a maintenance thing, and it's cheap enough to just replace. Now, there's the gasket. It's stuck to the engine. That's a beefy gasket there. Well, all this is trash. One thing I forgot to buy is new belts, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick those up. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be done today because it's already getting late, but I'm gonna get as much done as possible. So this is the time to remove the alternator and probably just set it out of the way. It doesn't really have to be disconnected and out of the vehicle. And then the tensioner, I believe, has to be removed. And then I can pull the balancer, and that way the front plate cover is ready to come off as soon as I pull the valve covers. There we go. I gotta say, the hardest part about this whole thing so far is removing the valve covers. They are really stuck on there. These seals over here around the spark plug things, they were like seized, and I actually ripped one of them. Hopefully I can get those separate without buying the whole valve cover, because all of them are okay except this one. This one stayed on the engine when I pulled the valve cover off, and that's why it was stuck. And I sprayed the lubricant all around, wiggled it, try to work it out, but one of them ended up ripping. So that's probably the hardest part so far. Now it's, I guess, time to pull the front engine cover. Well, it took me about three and a half hours to get to this point, and another hard part was getting the front cover off, because the thing is glued on and there's 24 bolts, I believe, holding the thing. So if you don't have 24 bolts in your hand, then you missed a few, because some of them are hard to see, and maybe that's why they pull the cab, just so they can see all the bolts. It would be easier to pull the cab. I don't disagree with that, but there's a lot more work. So three and a half hours later, I'm already at the chains. So now all I have to do is follow the manual, make sure I time it right, and I want to see what actually rattles in these, because it's like 2-second rattle, and I just don't see anything broken or anything like that. So I'm gonna take one or two apart and just find out what's going on. Maybe there could be a permanent fix. Also, comment below if you have a 2020 and up 3.5 EcoBoost, and does yours rattle or it doesn't? Because I read somewhere that 18 and 19 rattle, but 20 and up do not. So let me know in the comments if 2020 and up rattle. So I'm going to just read instructions as I go, and hopefully it helps someone. So step 1, remove engine front cover. Boom, we got it. Step 2, install crankshaft pulley bolt. Step 3, rotate the crankshaft clockwise. Position the crankshaft sprocket keyway at 11 o'clock position. So got an 18mm socket, got the bolt back in there. Just gonna rotate the engine clockwise. Probably should have pulled the spark plugs out. It would be much easier to turn, but nobody got time for that. I see the keyway coming up. Okay, that should be
11 o'clock. And what does that mean for us? Pretty sure that's 11 o'clock right there. Maybe turn a little bit more. Okay. 11 o'clock. Alright, next page. Verify the timing marks on the VCT unit are at the position shown. So, position shown. Marks. Okay, this one is here. Is it the only one? This one is here and that one is there. It looks exactly like the picture. So, alright. Sucks because you kind of have to eyeball it. There's like nothing to really go by. You just kind of eyeball it, which is fine, I guess, because the tool is the one. If the tool fits, then it's gonna hold the cams in place. So, okay. 5. Note: camshaft holding tool will hold the camshafts in the DTC position. Install special service tool. Blah blah blah. Blah blah. Special tool is DPT or DP tool 303-1655, and I'm assuming the thing probably will go like right here, and it doesn't fit. So what does that mean? Let's go to the next page and see. I might have turned it too far. So the tool looks like it is placed in the front here, which makes sense, but I might have turned it too far. I know that you're not supposed to turn the engine back, but if you just do a little bit, it'll be fine, just to get the tool in there. Maybe I didn't go far enough. Maybe. What's up? Yeah, I think I didn't go far enough is what it is. What's the deal? What's with that? Is the timing that much off? What? So the instructions are pretty clear, but I had to fight it a little bit to get the tools to align, because maybe it's because the cam phasers are bad and loose, because when I was turning the crank, like one of the cam phasers didn't want to move at first, and then so maybe because there's the cam phasers are shot or bad, that's possibly why I couldn't line up the tool. But now, as you can see, finally the tool, both sides are in place. I don't know if I'm supposed to do one side at a time, but the kit I bought came with a 2-piece tool, so I guess I can hold both. I mean, they both fit, so at this point I can remove the chains, I guess, and we'll go from there. Hopefully I did it right. I guess that's what it is. These two, they just rattle until it builds oil pressure and then stops. That's the 2-second rattle. Every morning I hear it. It's so annoying. So I've got the tools in. I've got both chains off, the guides are out, everything. I guess at this point I could just unscrew these Allen bolts and remove. I'm gonna do one at a time, and I'm gonna compare this to the new one and see what the difference is. And and see what's broken. I'll take them all apart probably, and we'll see. So these cam phasers, the bolts, they're really tight, so I ended up buzzing them off with the impact. But what I did was I didn't want to trust the tool, so I took a wrench. It's a 1 1/16, I believe, wrench. Held it just sort of so the tool doesn't fly out of place, and just buzzed them off. This one was kind of tight because of the AC lines here, but it's doable. So I got them all loose. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this one here and take a look at it. I'll also remove this one because I kind of want to see and mess with them and see what the rattle's all about. So just by looking at it like this, I don't see anything wrong with it, but I do want to take it apart. I don't see what the rattle's all about. I don't understand it. Somebody explain it to me, because I don't get it. I don't understand why it makes that noise for the 2 seconds, because I thought maybe like one of the pins would be broken or something, and I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna fix the rattle just by replacing the cam phasers. But maybe if I take it apart, but I don't know. What am I missing? Well, whatever. I guess I'll replace them and put new chains on, and that's it. See, these are solid. These don't move. And if you remember when I did the exhaust, I think I could move it by hand, and these are solid. I can't move them at all. So I guess that should help. So the new phasers are torqued down, and none of them move anymore like the old ones. I think the old ones on the intake, they just, I could move them by hand again, and these don't. None of them move. So I'm gonna take those old ones apart and see what the deal is inside. I guess it's the intake ones. So all I gotta do is remove that spring and buzz these off, and we'll take a look. I don't know. I still don't get it. Well, these pieces I thought were broken, but no, they just kind of chill in there. I don't know. I don't know what the cause is. I don't see anything broken, so maybe the spring is just not strong enough or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Somebody explain it to me in the comments, because I don't understand. Out with the old, in with the new. New chains are on. New chains are actually pretty simple to install because they have different color links. So there's intake, there's exhaust, and then there's 2 colors side to side over there, and there's a dot on the sprocket. So you can't really go wrong as long as you have the tools in place. Everything is held, the cams are in place, and then you just route the chain, and everything lines up. I got the guides in as well. So I'm actually gonna end this video here because it's getting way too long, and I can't work on this in the next few days because I'm traveling. So I'm gonna leave this, and then there will be a part 2, and I will have all the instruction pictures or instructions in the description, one of those. So check them out, follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe. Later.